work for Citizens Bank. And all of a sudden, though, you realize that corporate America is not where your heart wants to be when you have worked for yourself in the past. So one day, actually, Joey emailed me, and I would have never thought it was Joey Carter, and I thought somebody was trying to hack my computer, so I deleted it. Oh my gracious. So I was very grateful that he reached out to another person to connect with me to let me know that that was really him. And Joey flew up to Pittsburgh to meet with Roger and I, and that first meeting, it was a business presentation, and only I met with Joey. Roger wasn't able to come that night, but it was at the Crown Plaza, which used to be a different name of the hotel, and it just all made sense. It just fell into place. I mean, we worked for the Carter family for 20 years, and now to be blessed to be a part of that again, and our growth stemmed strongly from you, Marc, and you, Christina. You just were always there for us. You rooted us on. When I would come to you and say, I shared this with Father, and he said he wants to be a consultant, Marc said, Marc always saw the bigger picture. And he said, well, did you share it with your church yet? And I said, no, I didn't. And he's like, well, you need to go back there first. So your leadership grew us abundantly, because this was foreign land to Roger and I. A people person I am. I love people. And thank you for the compliments, but because of your strength and Christina's strength, you grew us. So I'll pass it to you, babe.
Well, what I'd like to add at this point is, Marc, you're right about a couple things. One, yes, Debbie was a cheerleader. And also, nobody is a stranger to her. She will talk to anybody, and her personality is what you see is what you get with my wife, and I couldn't be prouder to be married to her. Like I said at the meeting the other night at Belisara, when we first came on board here and I saw what was going on, I thought we were either going to go to jail or we were joining a cult. But I soon became a believer, and Ambit actually really is the real deal, and I couldn't be happier to be part of the company and to be friends. The people in Ambit are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. I've said that many times before too, but it's really true.
Now,
so go ahead, Marc.
No, so Roger, you came up in kind of corporate America. You had like I would say, you had a real job for a long time and a lot of responsibility. Just talk about kind of what the difference is between what you see in Ambit and what you did, and how your career kind of poured over into your Ambit business a little bit.
What I did for the last 12 years of my career was supervise a list of like 25 different guys, and we service grocery stores throughout the tri-state area. That contact list has come into play since I didn't really contact the people when I was still working, because I didn't want them to feel the pressure of me being their boss and asking them for a favor. But once I retired, I reached out to a lot of the people just to do me a favor. Let's here we have our hands on. See if it makes sense to you. And it might not be for you, it might be for you, but at least, just take a listen to it. And it's worked pretty well since then.
That's awesome, Roger. And how is retirement? You enjoying it?
Retirement is wonderful. It was a challenge in the beginning. I was so used to getting up and having my phone ring from 5 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night. Now nobody calls me at all. So if my phone rings or I get a text, I get really excited. So,
yeah.
But it took some getting used to, but I'm doing fine. And thanks, Debbie's being very understanding about me being around a little bit more than normal.
Yeah, well, it's a whole nother world. I remember when you first retired, it was like a culture shock.
Absolutely was.
Yeah.
Christina, you look wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Roger. I have to call you more often.
Yeah, right. We'll ring your phone, buddy. All right, Debbie, let me see if I can get you back on here. Are you still there?
Bring me back. Zoom me in.
Right. For some reason, your video shut off. So
Mine did.
Yeah, yours did.
Start video.
There you go.
Not there?
No. So listen, guys, while Debbie's figuring out her video, what I want you to talk about a little bit is, and you can talk with or without it. That's fine, Debbie. But
okay.
You figure it. Talk to us a little bit about kind of what you do. What's your day like with Ambit? Because I know every time I call you, you're showing the plan, you're going to a meeting, you're meeting with people. Tell us what you do.
Well, I really set aside the morning hours to set appointments for Ambit. I don't know why this is not on. I can see the video is not on, but anyway, so what I do is I set aside the morning hours to set my appointments. And especially too, as an executive, you need to reach out to your team. You need to reach out to set your own appointments. Hi, Sam.
He hears your voice.
He's like, where is she? I can't see her.
Yeah. So, okay, am I here? Am I on?
You're on. If you go down, to the bottom, Debbie, while you're on here, there's a thing that says stop video or start video.
Start video, yeah. And there's a line through it, and it says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay, let me look and see if I did something. Hang on a second. Yeah, you keep talking. I'll work on that.
Okay. Okay, so in the morning, really, what I do is my goal is to make 3 appointments per week for myself. So there we go. Thank you, host and hostess. Yeah. So I do get on the phone. I reach out to people and listen. I really want to say passionately, if you're living in your comfort zone, you will not grow, or you will just grow barely. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You just don't know who's in line with you at the grocery store, or the waiter or the waitress that is waiting on you. And always there'll be a reason to recognize them and maybe applaud them for their service to you. I will tell you this, just the other day, I went to show the plan at Panera, and I got there early. And a young man walked in, and he was in a hurry, and he got behind me. And I said, oh, would you like to go in front of me? Maybe you're on your lunch. And he said, no. He said, I just passed my nursing boards. And I said, well, tell me who you are. And he said, I'm Jared. And I said, okay, I'm Debbie. Long story short, we exchanged numbers, and we just met yesterday for show the plan. But I'm just saying that everybody and anybody around you may need the resources that we have. So get out of your comfort zone, and just reach out to people, because they need you more than you need them. So back to my day. So I do set up appointments. I try to set 3 show the plans for myself for the week. I do reach out to our team, because sometimes they're busy and they need lifted up, or whatever it may be. They may need encouragement. They may need applauded. So, I reach out to both throughout the day to set up the number of appointments that my goal is for the week.
That's awesome.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And if it's not 3 show the plans a week, then I feel like, oh my gracious, you just need to set 3 show the plans a week at least, because odds are one of them are going to postpone anyway. That's
right. Now, a question for you. As you're doing this, tell me how you do it. I mean, what video are you, because people always they want to pick your brain, right? So whenever you go out and you're meeting at Panera with whoever, Jarrett, and what videos are you playing? How are you doing it? Do you bring in a 3-way call? Or are you doing, what system are you using?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, first off, I always use the 2 company videos. I used to like to walk through some of the PowerPoint for the company part, but right or wrong, I felt like that was not duplicatable for everybody. So I actually went back to using the 2 videos, the opportunity video and the getting paid video. And then absolutely I do a 3-way. I try to match them, like Jared just passing his nursing boards. So of course I reached out to Val Candy, because she's a nurse by trade, and she did, we had a real nice long conversation there. So yep, always do the 3-way. Without that 3-way, I would be extremely uncomfortable, because without that 3-way, that prospect sitting across from you feels like they need to know everything that I just poured out. With the 3-way, they realize they don't need to know anything. They just need to call somebody, and that somebody will answer all the questions for them. The key on this also is, I'm going to tell you, for me and for Roger and I found that most people don't sign up on the first time they see it, right? They need to look at it again, get a bigger picture. So the follow-up is where the fortune is. I mean, you need to set that plan. Or am I calling you tomorrow? Am I inviting you to one of the BPs or the mixer? But a follow-up needs to be set in a very short time limit. I'm going to say within 48 hours.
Yeah.
So Debbie, I got a question for you. You came up like I did. You were in home interior, and my mom was in a business called Watkins Products. Same idea. It was home parties. And I remember my struggle of the transition between the home party, like you probably would go to somebody's house and set up and do a show, to Ambit, where it's completely different. How did you make the transition? Because there's other people on here that probably have a background in direct selling that was more like what you're used to doing.
Yes.
How did you make that? How did you figure this thing out? 'Cause that's difficult,
Actually, terribly in the beginning. So always I'm going to pour my truth out on the table. One time, Joey Carter said to me, Debbie, just stop it. He said, you are not selling a picture or a mirror.
Right.
Because in reality, I started to scribe. I started to throw up all over everybody. And in the beginning, I was telling them everything when I shouldn't have. I should have learned how to do the invitation and press play. So it took me a while to transition. It took me a couple months. But once you learn that all you need to do is master that invitation, customize it according to the person, whether it's a businessman, your family, your best friends, your neighbors, your work peers in corporate America, if you are working in corporate America, but customize that invitation to meet their need, to invite them to come take a look. That's all. If you become a master inviter, and I will tell you, my biggest weakness was reaching out to male entrepreneurs. And I came to you with that, Mark, one time in Green Tree when we were at a big meeting. You came off stage and, oh my goodness, you just did it all right. And I said, how do I reach out to a businessman? Because in all my days, I worked with women for 20 years. It was a women's business. But you said to me, you told me exactly how to invite a business person to take a look at it. And it made a big difference in Roger and ours organization.
So how did you do that? What did I tell you?
Well, you told me, and it was so true. You said business owners are helpful, but they're never looking for more work. They're already overworked. But you said, Deb, go to your business owner and tell them you need their help. So exactly like this, I'm going to use Jim as the man's name. I went to Jim and I said, Jim, I need your help. You are the most successful businessman in Carnegie. Everybody respects you. Everybody shops at your store. And I have my hands on a part-time business, and I value you taking a look, see if it makes sense, or if you want to give me your opinion. And once I asked for their help, it was just an easy go. I mean, it was exactly like you said. They would say, you know what, sure, I'll give you my help. Yeah, I'll take a look at it for you. Immediately they would say, what is it? And I would say, oh my gracious, I could never explain it, but today or tomorrow, where's 15 minutes, tonight or tomorrow morning? And then they would pick one of them. So the key there was to ask a business owner for their help and to compliment them, and then to schedule the appointment.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, and it holds true. And
Yeah.
the thing is a lot of times I tell people that and they don't take the advice, but you did. And my experience with that is that, especially as an entrepreneur myself, is that I want to help people to get to where I'm at,
Yes.
And so when somebody comes to me and says, listen, how did you do it? I mean, the other day I spent almost an hour and a half on the phone with a guy who's trying to start a food business. He's doing some stuff, some products, and I give him all the resources I can give him. I don't want a dime for it. It's not like I said, well, I'll do it for a royalty or anything like that.
Yes.
I did it because that's what I do. And so if you guys can get that, it's a nugget. If you can pick up on that whenever you're out showing people, especially people of influence, ask them for your help and just say, listen, I have a business idea I need to get your opinion on. Can you help me with it? Can you give me some referrals? Can you tell me what I can do better as I present? And believe me, they'll do it. And then the smart ones, I always say the smart ones are going to pick up on it. They're going to say, oh, wait a minute, this looks really good. Look what gas, electricity, everybody uses it, no cost to switch, all that kind of stuff that we always did. So that's great. Now, next question for you, Debbie, is a lot of times we get a new consultant in and they don't get paid. So what do you do whenever you get a new consultant in, the 28 days is running out? I mean, how are you working with your brand new people? And Roger can chime in anytime he wants to.
Yes, yes. Well, so as soon as somebody starts, of course, we have the workbook, which is a nice tool because it leads them to videos, things that they need to study and to do the certification. But I again use that 48-hour rule to try to meet with them personally, to sit and start making their calls with them. Those first 5 or 6 calls with me beside them, maybe gives them a little bit more confidence and comfort. And then I let them start making the calls after we do 3 or 4, then the 5th and 6th call would be on their own. Yes, we do push. And really our goal is to get those first 3 customers in 10 days. And even 10 days is a big stretch. You don't need that much, but that's what we go with. Try to get 3 in 10 days. They realize the value of that because that's their $100 on the line. And sometimes it's bonus and a half, like if they're signed up for Ambition. So 5 customers gets them a little bit more money, but we go, our rule of thumb is try to get 3 in the first 10 days. Meet with me in the first 48 hours, 3 customers in the first 10 days.
Good.
Yeah, and then now is that starting to duplicate down as you're putting people in? Are they kind of doing that too? Or, I mean, how's that working out?
Well, some are. Surely everybody isn't, because I can devote all my time to Ambit, and a lot of them cannot. But in the cases where they bring somebody into the business, I would fill in as the trainer, surely, if they're work full time and they don't have the time to train them. But yes, it's pretty duplicatable that way.
Yeah, well, I think if you teach a person to fish, you feed them for life. So
yes,
even not everybody does it, but at least you're giving them the tools. I think Christina had a question for you guys. And so what you're doing is you're setting people up for success. Now, let's just say you have somebody who comes in and they don't get paid in the first 28 days. How do you handle that?
Well, I mean, I do feel bad for them because that's a long stretch of days, and they didn't accomplish that goal with everybody's helping hands. But I don't let go. It's just, it's a stepping stone. So we missed this one, but there's another one right behind it. There's another, bonus period right behind it. So now let's get 8 customers to kick the second bonus out, the Jumpstart 2. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they don't let you work with them. But those who let you work with them, they'll grow. If they let us work with them, they'll grow. But some kind of, some just kind of think they know how to do it their way. Yeah. And then when they don't make the bonus, then sometimes they'll say, okay, teach me your way. It's just a way of learning how to get a bit in front of other people. And
that's exactly what happened to us. That was our story to a T. We didn't get paid in the first 28 days, and then that's when I was, that's when you said, you say, all right, I give up. How do you do this thing? Okay, that leads me to my next question is that free energy is a tool that is underutilized, in my opinion. And you have a story, I believe, of a relative of yours that got in for free energy and ended up doing other things in Ambit. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, yes, because I just used that tool again. So Dana's a senior consultant in our business, and she called me, and her and her husband and 2 children just moved into a new home. It was new to them, not new, but new to them. And her first electric bill was $403. And she called and said, Aunt Deb, can you please help me get free energy? I said, oh, sure. And she said, I don't want any part of the business. I'm a school teacher. I've been a teacher for 17 years. And I said, Dana, it's $100 to come into the business, and there's $400 worth of bonuses along the way to free energy. If free energy is your goal, take the bonuses along the way to free energy, and then you can quit being a consultant. There's no rule that you have to stay longer. So she said, okay, because she trusted and believed in me. Well, we rocked her out to free energy in 28 days. We have never got somebody to free energy in 28 days before. But being a school teacher helped, for her, because they believed in her, they trusted her. And she was wise. She realized it was the average of the 15. So she chose large households to refer because she was out after customers. So along the way of getting her to free energy, some of the people said, well, why wouldn't I do this? So all of a sudden she started building a team. So out in North Huntington she is. And I mean, we were in front of the Rotary Club. We were in front of the school. All of a sudden her team grew. So she's a senior consultant building that team now. But I will say that was a learning lesson for Dana and I both, because even the other day I was with somebody who has her hands in a product business. And she's passionate about her product business. But she also came to me and said, Debbie, I want free energy. And I said, okay, then this is what I'm going to offer you. So she just came on board. She is still yesterday ended her 28 days. But in those 28 days, I worked with her, and we were able to put on 6 customers in 28 days.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, our goal is by the 2nd month to have her to free energy. But listen to what happened on that. So she had me sharing this. It enlightened me to bills in Texas. But then yesterday, she had me speaking with somebody in Washington, D.C. Wow. Now her girlfriend called her this morning and said, well, why wouldn't I do that and get myself to free energy and take their bonuses? So now that girl's name is Katie, and I have to follow up with her tomorrow. So this free energy is a ticket to consultants.
100%. I think a lot of times we don't even think about it.
Yes.
We don't even think about it. Roger, you got anything to say about free energy? You get free energy?
Yeah, should I raise my hand at this point? I want to know what happened to Gianni. Did you lock him in a room somewhere or what?
Yeah, I strapped him to the chair.
He's got his own computer right now. He got his red tongue out.
The only thing I'd like to add is the hardest part for me along the way has been dealing with the no's. I mean, getting the no's is a very big part of this business, and I understood that. But I took it personally in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Then you just realize, you're asking people for favors. You want to do them a favor, and you want to help them. And in the process, you're helping yourself, of course, but the goal is to help other people lower their utility bills. And it's just, it's exciting now that I'm able to do it full time, now that I have nothing else to really, focus my mind on. I can be a bigger help to the team, and it's been a lot of fun.
You're a great help to the team, babe. You speak at all the meetings, and people just came up to you at the mixer and just went on and on because you struck a chord with them, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That has been the hardest part of becoming an EC, is having to have every meeting. Really, I wake up if it's Monday night, we're going to Bellicere. I wake up Monday night and say, "What can I say tonight?" I have to fill 25 seconds. You think I was giving a Gettysburg address? I'm getting better.
You're doing great.
Well, it's confidence. You guys earned it. And so let's talk a little bit about your road to EC, because there's a lot of people on here that are not executives. That some of them are struggling at regional, and they believe in Ambit for when everybody on here, we believe in the company, and so what got you? And I mean, I know it wasn't. You watch people come in the business and in 90 days they're executive and all this crazy stuff. But for the rest of us, it can be a grind sometimes. So talk to us a little bit about your journey to get to EC, that never quit attitude, and kind of what it's like on the other side of the fence.
Well, let me just say something real quick, Tim. I like to use the analogy of almost being like a journey across the desert. When you start your Ambit journey, you're in a nice green oasis, plenty of water, fresh camels. People are taking your calls. You'll sign a couple consultants, maybe 5 or 6 customers. Then you head out across the desert on your camel. Mm-hmm. It gets hot, it gets dry. People aren't taking your calls. People are telling you it's a scam. Then up ahead, what do you see? Another little oasis. So you make it to that one. Then everything gets better again. People are taking your calls. You're signing more people. The point I'm trying to make is don't jump off your camel. Stay on your camel. The next oasis is just up ahead, and just don't give up. Persistent and consistent wins the race. Go ahead, babe.
Good job.
Good job, Roger. I like that. I don't want to be in the dry spot of the desert. Yes. You know what? It took Roger and I a long time. We weren't fast like Marc and Christina and like Greg Day and the Masons. It took us 5 years. But in 5 years of, everybody talks about that persistent and consistent pattern. Like consistency compounds over time. You're not going to see that compound in the beginning of your journey, but you're going to see its growth. And I will tell you, the most beautiful part about this is watching others grow. Yeah. I mean, our kids are in Albany, New York, right? And they're doctors. But my son called today and he's like, Mom, now our goal is to make our residual income this amount of money by September. How can I do that? And I mean, just to know that this has spread through other people. In our church bulletin, they list how much Ambit gets weekly or monthly now. So at first it was about me leaving Citizens Bank, far greater than that. Now it's about how many lives can Roger and I help And it is over time. Miracles happen for those that make it in 9 or 18 months. But for the most of us, it's a journey. And like Roger said, it's a journey through the desert. Don't give up. Surely you're going to get down. We're all human. When you get down, call up. And when you are up, reach down to pull somebody up along with you.
That's
because
good.
it will keep growing if you don't stop. Humanly, sometimes you got to catch your breath because maybe somebody hurt you and you took it personal. And that's a hard spot to get past. But once you're past it, there's no stopping you. You will reach out to everybody and anybody because they need your help far greater than you need them.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you and Roger were in the business, was there a moment in time in your Ambit business, no matter what code you were in, that you had a light bulb go off and you said, I'm running for it, I'm going for it? And when that happened, what was the circumstance and what triggered it?
Well, you know, I've heard you and Marc say many times that you don't need a multitude of runners. You need like 3, 4, or 5 people that see the business like you do and they'll run with it. Well, that hit home early last year. So it was around February. Somebody joined our business and he was a male and he stayed connected with me daily. And I could just feel his adrenaline. And it never stopped. It made me want to run because I thought, I can't slow down. One of my teammates is running faster than me. I have to run with him. And all of a sudden he was a regional. And, a couple of the leaders has said to me, just keep promoting RCs and you will grow. Get everybody to regional consultant and you will grow. And it just started happening. We just started producing another regional. And, Roger and I, we made our goal for July 31st last year to promote, and it didn't happen. And then Joey Carter challenged us to promote by ambition, and it didn't happen, but it was September 26th. So no matter where your goal is, yes, you may make it, and I will applaud you and run with you, but it's okay if you don't, because it will happen very shortly after. Just put that goal out there. Tell your upline, tell your team, write it on the mirrors and everywhere in your house, so that you see it daily. And it's okay if you're a little bit past it, but you'll be very close to the target just by declaring it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we say it all the time. We tell people, write down your date. If you don't already have your date for promotion written down, take a pen out and do it. And in fact, we did a training the other day, and I was talking about, if you want to bounce your dates off me, I'm very realistic. And so sometimes people say, I want to be EC next week. And I'll say, no, it's not going to happen. So let's readjust your goal and make something that's actually going to happen. And so what I love about, that story is that, is your timing was perfect. Okay. And so, and whether you believe it or you don't believe it, or you say, oh, I wish I could have done it 2 years sooner. It was perfect. Now we think about this. If you would have gone EC before we went EC, or the same time we did, you wouldn't have had an EC fly-in. You'd have the old generic EC ring. Now you got this big fancy football ring. There's so much more. The company's come a long way since the early days of turning executive. That you get to experience things that even older ECs didn't get to experience. And I think that you needed that. I think it's a boost of confidence for you that you can carry on to your team that even some of us never got. So your timing was 100% perfect, and you went at the time that you were supposed to go. And the other thing too is your story relates to everybody. A lot of times, when people get in, I hear stories all the time, so-and-so, I think it was Kenny Smith or somebody said they had a guy that went EC in 6 months or whatever, 6 months, was some crazy number. And that doesn't relate to me because it took me 27 months from the time we went senior to go executive. And there's other people even longer. And so it doesn't relate to the average person. And your story does. And not that you're average, it's that this is, like Roger said, it's that struggle that we go through to get through that desert. And so your consistent, persistent effort has paid off. So let's talk about life as an EC. What's it different? And why should, if I'm a regional or senior, why should we push to be an executive?
You want to answer, babe?
You go first.
Okay. So many things. First off, the journey along the way bonded us so tightly with Ambit family, like you and Christina and Gianni and Sam. You know, so I mean, and Sam the dog. Yes.
He's over, he hears your voice every time he comes over.
But because those who support you along the way, they applaud you. They're just so happy for you that you can't help but find that close bond. Financially, it's a different world. It is a different world. When you just look at the weekly payout, so when you're a marketing consultant and you make $100 for somebody gathering 3 customers, or when you're an executive and you make $315, the income for that week has more than tripled. So, I mean, if somebody's looking at just the income factor, that's a big push. There's many things. I mean, I had no idea of the value of the VIP line for consultant support. They take care of us completely, like we're the golden child. They help us solve the problem. If there is a problem, they find it out. Like, they work harder for us than I work for myself sometimes. They're just great people. We have a devoted staff down there. I mean, there's just so much. That EC fly-in, we felt like we were the king and queen of England or something. Huh? How, babe? Like, that was
really nice. Really nice.
Yes. But you want to say something about the EC category that we're in? The
night that we were pinned, and Christina and Marc, and you made a special effort to be there for us, and that's the night I will never soon forget. Everybody was there for us, and much more than the money for me is the friends that I have made in this business are people that I hope will be my friends for as long as I live. I mean, it's a great company. They're great people. And Christina, what would a conversation with Debbie be without a couple "oh my gracious" in there?
It's not in their hands. Johnny still does it.
Yes.
Slapping a thigh.
Yes. And I'll tell you what feels so good, more than the income or anything like that, is really being able to help people, because we've stumbled and fallen. So, you know, we've learned along the way, and now we really can help people. Like, people have reached out to us from many other teams, especially in the church category. Like, Debbie, will you come with me? Help me get this in front of our church, Debbie and Roger. And it's nice to feel that value that we can give back, because you all have given to us so much.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that it's all, we're not reinventing any wheels here, you know, because what I learned from somebody and shared with you, now you're learning to somebody and sharing with them, and then eventually there's going to be somebody on your team that does the exact same thing. And I think that's what people need to understand, is it's duplication that we really have to key in on, you know. Yes. And then talk to about a little bit, because Roger, I know you said when you were at the EC fly-in, you made a real good connection with David Ames at corporate. Being on that side of the fence and getting a connection with the corporate staff, how does that affect your business or just the way you feel about the company?
You're absolutely right. With that connection with David was incredible. We've reached out to him. We needed help with the Texas bill, and he explained it's a whole different world, the Texas billing, and how you have to learn that. But he helped us walk right through that, and just the way it makes you feel going through headquarters, and it's a special place to be in a special company, and it's been an incredible journey along the way. Hopefully, we're starting back over the desert. I can see that oasis right up ahead.
That's awesome. So,
can I add something about David Ames?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I reached out to you, Marc, about a Texas bill because I didn't know how to read them. I had, prior to calling you, reached out to David Ames, because when we were at the EC fly-in, he had me sit at his desk and he showed me the Texas bills. But 2 months had passed, and I wasn't familiar enough with the Texas bills. So when I emailed him here, he ended up calling me from Calgary. He was on the tour with Jerry Thompson Jr., and he called me and he said, "Deb, I just want to make sure you clearly understand the Texas market down there, the bills." And I said, yeah. And so he refreshed my memory, and now I clearly understand the Texas bills. But how nice that he went out of his way, called me from Calgary.
So when I need help with Texas, I can call you now?
Yes, I get it now.
Hey, the closing call that you did for me the other day on the fly, by the way, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're meeting with them on Saturday, and their family is from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, so we may need your help.
We need your help. Just like, I know you'll be with family and everything, but just a heads up.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'll be there. And I want to tell you, on a short note here, we signed that customer up. When he did the verification call, the verification people did not make something clear to him. They thought they understood the plan, and really they didn't. So then he said, never mind, don't sign me up. So I called VIP department and I said, how can I help him? Because this is in fact the true plan. You know what? VIP department calls the prospective customer and says, we'll give you, because in Texas there's a cancellation fee. They said, we'll give you 60 days free. No cancellation, nothing, because it is exactly the way Debbie said it is. Come on board with it. And he said, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So they really back us, you know?
Yeah. And so in addition to that, you get to spend time with Jerry Thompson. I believe he was at your fly-in as well.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that I always ask everybody who comes on my Zoom, talk about the leadership of this company, because you've been around for 5+ years, right?
Yes.
All right. So you're in Ambit for over 5 years. You've seen Jerry and you've heard him talk at events and things like that, and you see his passion for the company. What type of leadership do we have in Ambit?
Very strong, and leadership that doesn't make rash decisions. They're calm, they're comfortable, they analyze things before they open new doors. And I will tell you, Jerry, you could feel his passion and his pride for Ambit Energy. When we were at the EC fly-in, it was the largest EC fly-in. There were 26 ECs and then 13 spouses, so 39 of us. And on one of the days we were with Jerry and the female on his staff, and it was open question and answer. But he said, Ambit is the 3rd largest branded name in Dallas.
Wow.
And that's huge. That is of everybody and anybody down there. But, you know, you could feel his strength in the business, like knowing we would continue to expand and we would do it on solid ground and open small amounts, you know, small territories and then grow wide through them. You could just feel his passion for growth, but in the right area where it wouldn't be large, it would be small and spread across. And then with Japan, my gracious, I mean, sorry about that. There's 40,000 customers already. I mean, we opened our doors May 24th. And there's already 40,000 customers. It's just going to keep growing. It's a dominoing effect. You know, be a part of the greatest transfer of wealth in America or not. But I want to be a part of it forever.
Yeah.
And you know, with the generational wealth side of things too, I think you guys really recognize what this thing's not going to just do for us. I mean, I say it all the time. It's not about me. In fact, when Jerry was in Pittsburgh, I told him that. I said I didn't join Ambit for me. I joined it for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. I think you guys really see that. You know?
Yes, amen.
Yeah. Especially being around, you know, not all. I mean, I love the stories about Joey Carter and when he would come to town, how he stayed with you guys and had his own room at the house and all that. So you have a connection to Joey too. And you know his character and kind of his background in the industry and him as a business person. Talked a little bit. A lot of us don't know Joey that well, like you do. So you know, talk to us about Joey a little bit.
Joey grew up in a family where you learned a work ethic immediately. Nobody was pardoned when their family owned home interiors and gifts. Joey was young. And he said, I thought we were in the box business because boxes kept coming down the conveyor belts, you know, before he realized it was a product decorating business. But his father, Don Carter, who was known as Mr. C to everybody, he not only ran home interiors and gifts, but he founded the Dallas Mavericks. And, you know, Mr. Carter just passed away within the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks. But that family is so highly respected in Texas. I mean, they just live on a passion of integrity, all the way from Joey's grandma, Mary Crowley. And when Mr. C passed away, there was a Mavericks game. And remember, he founded them. So they had his picture outside on American Airlines Stadium. It was amazing. Joey sent me pictures back of Mr. C on, you know, outside projected up. But yes, so that family, a hard work ethic. If nobody even realizes this, but Mary Crowley, who was Joey's grandmom, who founded Home Interiors, she was a single mom with 2 children, Don Carter being one of them. And she wanted to start this business, and she was going to start it from the garage in her home. So she went to a local bank to borrow $2,000, and they wouldn't lend it to her because they asked her if she had collateral, and she did not. So she went to the next bank, and she just went bank to bank to bank. And one bank said, we will lend it to you. And imagine what they gave back because somebody trusted her for $2,000. It changed lives for the Carter family for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
Home Interiors was around for almost 50 years. You know, the children, Joey, his sister, his brother, they all grew up in working it physically and then being, you know, the entrepreneur and the CEO and the president of the company. Hardworking people. And I will tell you, Roger and I, what a year we had last year. We were privileged to be invited to Joey's wedding. So we're out there at the wedding, and I hugged Mr. C because he gave me 20 years of good life with Home Interiors too. But I said, Mr. C, you raised a good son. I said, a hardworking son. He never leaves our home without making his bed. And Mr. C goes, he better make his bed. If he slept in it, he better make it. You know? But they're just very much down-to-earth, hard-working people that you could sit and have a normal related conversation, even though they're billionaires, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you think about it, what Mary Crowley started actually affected every one of us on this call because, you know, it was Joey who really, you know, talked to Chris and all these guys and kind of gave the green light to Jerry about using the direct selling model, you know. And so there's a lot, you know, we all have a lot to be thankful for what Mary started years ago, and those entrepreneurs and the trailblazers in the industry. And so and I believe that's the same with every one of us here, guys, on this call. Is I don't think a lot of us really realize where we are in the history of this deregulation, number one, and the history of this company. When I joined Ambit Energy, and same with you guys, you know, we were basically a 5-year-old company in a handful of states. And even today, if you join today, we're a 11-year-old company in a handful of states and a little bit of Canada and Japan. And so I think that what we realize, and I think that everybody on here has to realize, is where we are in the history of this company. And as a pioneer, it's not always going to be easy. And just like Roger said, you know, you're going to go through the desert. I mean, we went through the polar vortex, yes. and it was tough. And so a lot of people here never even had to experience that. Some of them did, a lot of them didn't. And so, you know, what keeps you going? Because, you know, I went through polar vortex and I watched a lot of people leave the business, a lot of good people leave. And you didn't, and we didn't. And a lot of the other leaders who are executives now didn't leave. What kept you in the game?
Well, for me, it would have been my belief in the leadership, the local leadership, like you and Christina, Jimmy Kim Mason, Greg Day, Val Candy, the leadership here, but also our hearts are deeply rooted in the Carter family. And Joey Carter assured us this too would pass. This would be, you know, this would pass and work out. And we believed him. He's probably the wisest businessman I'll ever know. I mean, he sat downstairs in our game room and was buying a $21 million airplane. I'm thinking, really? But yes, I believe in him completely. And he assured us that it too would be fine. And on we went. You know, no matter what business you're in, no matter what we do in life, it is never going to be perfect. There's going to be bumps along the way, some of them hurdles, not bumps. And as long as you hang in there together, we'll all get past them.
How about you, Roger?
Marc, I wanted to add, like you always, I've heard you say this many times, if you want to be successful in a business, get around the people who have already been successful. And that's really been true. A lot of people are nervous or maybe not confident enough to talk to the people wearing the yellow jackets or talking to Jerry when they have a chance. Anytime you have a chance to talk to anybody who's successful in Ambit. Just go pick their brain. Most people are going to be very willing to talk to you about anything and answer any questions that you have.
Yes.
So where, I'm brand new in the business. I just got started. Maybe I'm a regional consultant and I want to get around people like that. How do I do that? How do you recommend the average, or the marketing consultant, regional consultant get connected to with the yellow jacket? Not this yellow, but the real yellow.
Well, I would say through who brought them in the business, because I know that some of my marketing and regional consultants are very hesitant to walk up to Jim or Kim Mason. And so I introduce them because it's more comfortable if I'm there. And all of a sudden, the next time that they're around them, they'll go up to them themselves.
How about you, Roger? Where'd you meet?
I think attending any and all events that Ambit has to offer is a good way to get around people that are successful. I mean, go to Power Trip, go to Ambition, just go to your local BPs as often as you can. Get around the people that are making this business work for them, and they'll help you as well.
Yeah, and there's some magic in that. It's interesting how it works. And what you said, you hit the nail right on the head, Roger, because it's the big event. Number one, big event brings you the belief, because Debbie just talked about that. What took you through the tough times, or what gets you through the desert, is your belief. Okay, when you stop believing, then your hopefulness becomes hopelessness. All right, and we can't operate in hopelessness. We can only operate with hopefulness. So our hope is what keeps us going, and the belief does that. So being in an event like a Power Trip, there's a lot of times where, and I don't know, you guys can agree or chime in on this, but right up the Power Trip, I don't even want to go. I've had a rough fall or spring or whatever, and I'm like, man, I don't want to go. But I get home from that trip so fired up that it's like it propels you. It's like a transformer on an electric line. The voltage starts to run down and get a little bit low, and then it just gets that boost again. Have you had some experiences like that in these big events?
The enthusiasm that happens at these events is contagious. You can't help but have it rub off on you. You can't help but bring it back home with you and share with your team. It's just, you pick up a nugget of something like Brian always talks about, getting the golden nugget. If you pick up one idea that works for you at these events, it's worthwhile. But like I said, the enthusiasm just is contagious. You can't help but get re-energized after going to any of these events.
Debbie?
Yeah, I want to talk about the upcoming events at the end of April for whoever. If you don't have your ticket yet, it's going to sell out quickly. So we have Friday night, April 27th. It's Celebrations in Imperial. The tickets are $10.50, and they're on Eventbrite. That is going to be an amazing, exciting business presentation. Joey Carter, Brian McClure, the Ollingers, the Masons, a lot of the ECs will be there. So for that $10.50 for the BP, that also includes some form of food. It's pizza or something that we'll have right after the BP. The next day is Saturday, April 28th, and that's a full training day. I believe it's from 10 to 5. But again, the majority of that training is going to be done by Brian McClure. He doesn't need to come up here to help us, but he's such a giving man. He wants to. So he's coming up. Joey will be here. And yes, Joey will be sleeping at our house again for the weekend. So both of those are on Eventbrite, and you just want to go in and get the tickets. It only holds, I believe, 300 people. So it's going to sell out quick. People are coming from other states to attend both of these events. I would be so sad if somebody from right here in Pittsburgh couldn't attend their own event because they waited too long to buy the tickets.
Right on. Well, let me see if anybody has any questions out there. Hang on, I'm going to go to Justin Steger. I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead, Justin.
What were you saying about the church bulletin? Does the church get free energy, or can you explain more about that?
Yes, Justin. So I really had showed it to Father Mike. I had shared the business with him, and this was well over 3 years ago. And I was so excited. I went to Marc Alfano, and I said, Marc, I shared the business with Father Mike, and he's going to become a consultant. And Marc said, well, did you share it with your church yet? And I said, well, why would I do that? I didn't realize a business could really be a consultant. And Marc said, Debbie, churches need money. I said, okay. So Roger and I went the next Sunday and presented it to the board. We have a small little church in McKees Rocks, and the board absolutely okayed it right there. And so very quickly, the church did achieve free energy and residual income. So they're actually a regional consultant, the church.
Affiliate or how that?
What's that, Justin?
Not an affiliate then, it's a consultant.
Consultant. Yeah, I've never used the affiliate. The affiliate, I believe, Mark, you can correct me. I believe the affiliate can cap, there's a cap on the income.
Yeah, I never do the affiliate. And I think, because basically and let me just kind of chime in on this. The affiliate creates a customer gatherer. And so basically there's only one or two levels that are getting paid on an affiliate. So it doesn't benefit you. And it doesn't really benefit the organization because her church doesn't want to work the business. Her church wants residual income. And so what she did was, I believe this is how you did it, because this is the way I would have done it. You put the church in first, then the father under the church?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then so basically what happens at that point is then they present to the church. Anybody who has a bill, the big bills go under the church, the small bills go under the father. And then if they start to build, next thing you know, the church grows, it becomes a regional consultant. Let's say the father leaves and they install a new one. Then you go back to him and you say, look, your church is earning income. You sign up under the church. He gets his contacts in and starts building. The church never really does anything. It just is a funnel. It's not even a funnel. It's a pipeline of money that's going through and it's collecting some of it. And so your church now puts it in the bulletin what they've earned through Ambit. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
Yes, they do. Yeah, that's powerful. And I will tell you this. My whole goal really, I think at first, was to get them the free energy, and I wasn't thinking too much further. But along the way of sharing the business, we started gathering consultants for the church, and then that's how they became a regional. And so I mean, it's just going to happen as a byproduct of it. You're going to find consultants just trying to get your church to free energy. And listen, I will share this with you, really. If you go to your church and share this with them and they say, well, we don't want the consultant part, but we would like to have free energy, please let them be aware of the bonuses along the way to free energy, because there is like $400 worth of bonuses along the way to a certain number of customers. And they can stop being a consultant as soon as they achieve whatever goal they wanted to achieve, like the free energy. They might as well take the bonuses along the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, with them being a nonprofit, does that make a difference if they're
Well, Justin, that's an excellent question. So you're going to use their EIN number, and they have a 501c3 if they're a nonprofit. So, yep, when you sign them up, you're just going to use their EIN number. I can't even remember if it asked me for the 501c3.
Okay.
Yeah, and you got to remember, Justin, is they're not working the business. So it's no different than a church running a fundraiser or a bingo or something like that. I always tell them, if you have questions, contact your tax advisor. But it's really not that big of a deal for them. Well, good question. All right, let's go. Who's next? Let me see here. Hands up. Any questions? Any questions out there? Debbie's got a question. Hold on a second. Let me get Debbie. Oh, that's you, Debbie.
I don't have a question.
Debbie's waving.
Wait, who's that over there? Somebody's.
All right. If any,
Sandy.
Sandy, do you have a question? Oh, wait, hold on a second. We got Cheryl here. I see a hand go. All right, go ahead, Cheryl.
Hi, Debbie and Roger. I was just curious to know, now that you're an EC, how many consultants and customers you have in your organization.
How many customers and consultants we have in our EC code?
Yeah, well, like all together.
Oh, all together. Okay, so we didn't grow as fast as Christina and Marc. So we have 219 consultants, and we have a little over 1,100 customers.
That's good.
Cool.
Yes.
That's awesome.
See you at Power Trip.
Yes, I'll see you at Power Trip.
So let's see here. Hang on one second. I'm going to do that one. All right. Go back in here. All right. John Caldwell. I'll unmute you, John. Go ahead.
Hey, Debbie, while you were talking about that event in Pittsburgh, I tried to look it up on an Eventbrite and I couldn't. Is there a special name for it?
Okay, so for the Friday night event, if you go into Eventbrite and in search, you type Ambit, the Friday night will pop up. But I can give you, wait, I'm reaching in my desk. I can give you the exact, let me give you the exact website. Let me reach for it. Okay, here it is. For Saturday's tickets, the website for Saturday is the 3Ws.Ambit Super Saturday Training .eventbrite.com. So it's 3Ws.Super Saturday Training .eventbrite.com.
Okay.
Okay, but the Friday night one, you just go into Eventbrite and in search, type in Ambit, and the Friday night thing will pop up. And I have the tickets, and they are $10. Oh, with that little charge online, it's $11.95.
Oh.
I might have to reboot my Eventbrite because I got a pair of lips that came up and something that says luxury meeting summit. So
Yeah, you may want to reboot. I mean, you may have it on Las Vegas. Okay. Any other questions out there? Any other questions? Don't be afraid to ask, guys. If you got some questions, now's the time. You got the power couple on here with energy. They've gone ahead of us. They've blazed the trail. They've gone places that no man has gone before.
Right, Jonathan.
All right, go ahead, John. I'll say it. John, go ahead.
So Debbie, I know you said when you sat down with new consultants, you helped them make the first 3 calls. Exactly. Could you just walk us through what that is?
Well, so for the first couple calls, I'm actually just looking for the customer. Well, I shouldn't say just, but I'm actually looking for the customer because I want to get them bonused right away. So if they're in a bonus and a half or just the regular 3 customers, that's what I'm looking for. So I would just have the new consultant call maybe their best friend or who they would call if they had a flat tire at midnight. Like the first 3 people that they felt that would do them a favor no matter what, bar none. And then maybe she would call her best friend and just say, hey, I found something. I'm really excited about it. I don't know how to share it with you, but my business partner's here, so I'm going to pass you to Debbie, and she'll be able to share and explain to you what I'm doing. So we do that until we just get our first 3 customers, and then we transition it in to the invitation and setting the appointment.
And then what do you say to that person on the phone? So they're handing the phone over to you?
Yes. So if it's as a customer, if we're talking about as a customer, then I just share a little bit about energy deregulation, and the company that we work for is the #1 energy supplier in the U.S. and that her dear friend Mary needs 1 more customer to achieve her goal, and I explain the Guaranteed Savings Program. We are so blessed to have the Guaranteed Savings Program. I mean, it's not really anything that you have to think about. It has to be lower. It's transparent. So I explain to them about the Guaranteed Savings Program, and I'll say to them, let's say her name's Sue. I would say, Sue, so just so I can speak to you where you can understand this, tell me, who do you have for your incumbent? Are you with Duquesne Light or West Penn Power? And then she would maybe say Duquesne Light. And I say, oh, great, I have Duquesne Light too. So like start warming it up, let it get a little comfortable. And then I say, all you need, if you would, we can hold on. You need page 3 of your Duquesne Light bill, and I can show you clearly what Mary is doing and how she can help you save money while you're doing her the favor and going to help her make her goal. So I just explain, whether it's West Penn or Duquesne, I explain to them the price to compare because they can see it clearly on the bill. And I make sure that there's not another supplier on that bill. And many times, oh my gracious, many times, there's a supplier on that bill charging them 30, 40% higher than they need to. So they're extremely grateful that we've made the call. But if there's no supplier, I let them know where we'll appear on that bill and that at all times our rate is on there, it's transparent, and they can compare it with Duquesne Light's rate at the top of page 3. And, you know, I guess because I'm not pushy, I'm pretty factual with a gentle tone, that the transition usually is pretty easy. I would say 2 out of 3 would then be customers. You know, if you just help them, educate them on reading that bill and letting them know that they are the person that's going to let their friend make their goal. Because they're like, well, if I'm the one and you only need one more, you know, so.
That's awesome. I love it. You know what I love about it is how you kind of walk them through it. You know, go get out your bill, get out page 3. Can you take a look at it for me? What does it say? And you're leading it. It's just you're leading them through it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. How about John? Do you have any more questions on that?
Nope, thank you.
Okay.
Just to say that's a Pennsylvania thing. We're not lucky enough to have a guaranteed savings in Ohio yet, but.
Oh,
Yeah.
but don't you have the lowest rate in Ohio for AEP or Ohio Ed?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
I see.
In fact, they just we just got a longer rate too. I think I was looking today, 6
Yes.
or 12 is come out. And look, we were there too, John. I mean, before PA went to guaranteed savings, we had rates. In fact, whenever we switched to guaranteed savings, a lot of people didn't like it because they couldn't see their rate. You know, and so what we've learned to do is adapt to say, well, you know, we're going to guarantee you a savings over time and you get a statement at the end of the year and you're going to save money. The difference with you guys is you can say, hey, here's your rate. It's 5.4 and it's going to be this way for the next 6 months and you can budget it. So you can still do it. It's just, you know, I think I do everything exactly the same and say, you know, like here's the rate to compare. Here's our rate. You can watch it, and you're going to be fixed in for the next 6 months at this rate. You don't have to worry about it. Because even Debbie will tell you, even with guaranteed savings, it fluctuates.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we may have months on guaranteed savings where we're higher than the incumbent. Not all the time, but it could happen.
Yeah.
So anyway.
On the next question, Debbie, for you've got the person the 3 bills, and then how do you transition for that new consultant into the next step for a consultant?
Well, then we learn how to do the invite. And actually, I would role play with them, and I would be the one doing it so that I didn't make them uncomfortable at first. But the invitation is key to growing their business, because everybody's invitation just needs to be a little bit more customized. If it really is your best friend in their home and you call and say, hey, are you home now? Yeah, I'm home now. Well, I'm on my way. You know, I need to show you something. I'm on my way, and hang up and go, you know, and I would gladly go with them. But it is truly learning how to do the invitation. And you won't know how to in the beginning. And not one of us did. It was so foreign to try to stay silent about what we have and just set an appointment. It was strange. But all of a sudden you realize it works. That's the way to help people see this business. So I would just sit with them and talk to them about who are we going to call? What are they to you, so that we could make the invitation proper to them. One of my team asked me today, could I text him, could I tell him an invitation that he could text out to mass amount of people? But I really can't do that because there's just not a general one. I don't know, Marc, what do you have on that? You know, because I feel like you need to personalize the invitation. You can't just send out a massive text.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I don't do a lot of texting, you know. I mean, even with Christina, I tell her all the time, just call people. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know. If you do want to send out a text to somebody as an invite, because I know Mario Price taught on it.
Yes.
First thing you do is you never send it out as a group text. There's a button on your text that you can ungroup it. So even though you're sending out 100, it looks like it's only going to one person. Because the last thing you want to do is have everybody responding on a chain letter, basically.
Okay.
But number 2 is when you do it, it's basically just a kind of like a teaser that you send out to people. You know, and it's nothing major, nothing, you know, just like, hey, listen, I have a business idea. When can we get on the phone? And that's it. You know, keep it simple. But you can send out a group text like that and see how many come back. I do a lot of fishing, Debbie, and Ambit, and a lot of different things that I've tried it all. And really, the person-to-person, your friend, somebody you made a relationship with, is always going to be your best bet.
Yep. Yes, I agree with you. I love one-on-ones. This is how Roger and I grew our business. One-on-ones, and if it made sense, then we invited them to the business presentation. When we tried to do it reverse and invite them to the business presentation first, occasionally they came, But for the most part, they didn't, because maybe they were intimidated, the hotel scene, but we found great success in one-on-ones and then the business presentation to follow.
So I don't want to keep you on here all night, but what's your Christina said to ask you, what's your short-term goal and what's your long-term goal right now for Ambit, now that you're EC?
Well, so long-term goal, it's very long. We were talking about this the other night. I need 745 to go national, because that number is really big, right? So that's a long-term goal. But short-term goal, I personally would like to start sponsoring 3 consultants in a month. And that doesn't always happen. So, that would be my short-term goal, and I haven't done it yet, 3 in a month, but that is my goal.
Let me tell you something. If you can do 3 a month, you'll be national way sooner than you could ever imagine.
Well, yeah, that's our goal. And we're plugging away. We're reaching out to people. And a lot of strangers now that we just met by accident, but that we're starting to have a friendship or a relationship with. So we'll see.
Let me just kind of go over some of the things that you guys talked about. And one thing that hit me was your numbers, because you went EC without putting a ton of people in the business. I mean, you said 200 and change and whatever, and you're already building your EC code, which means when we went EC, Christina and I, we had put almost 1,000 people in our team in the business. We were almost at 1,000. You did it in 200 and change, which means that you took time with everybody you put in. And there's something to be said about that. Even though you can say, it doesn't matter, because what you did is everybody that you put in, you've taken a little bit of time with, and you developed them into these leaders where you didn't need to go through 1,000 people to hit that number, which means that for you to go national, you'll do it in 700. Where somebody like myself, it may take 5,000 to hit it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, thank you. We all grow different, right?
That's right. So
Yes.
her goal is 700 consultants to go national.
Okay.
So that's the long term.
Yes. But 3 consultants a month. That's our short term.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
We're headed up for a couple days up to New York, and we need to open that door. When you think of the gold mine that the state of New York is, for one thing, our guaranteed savings program up there never expires. Nobody ever has to renew. So once they're a customer, they're on that forever. And then the accolades that Ambit received, because the low income people were not going to be allowed to have a supplier. But then when it was voted on, they voted that only one supplier could be available to them, and it's Ambit. So Ambit's a gold mine in New York. I mean, we have to open more doors up there. So we're going up for the next 5 days, and I'm going to be knocking on doors. No.
Well, here's what I'm going to say right now is that hold on a second. Sandy's got a question, so let me get Sandy up there. Hold on. Hang on a second here, Sandy. I'm getting to you. All right, go ahead, Sandy. I can hear you. Go ahead. Sandy, can you hear me? All right. I don't know if she can hear me or not.
Yeah.
Sandy, you there? All right.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good.
Okay. When you have somebody that's struggling to get to RC, what would you do to help them to build their strength, to keep them moving?
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Deb.
Well, you're amazing. You're putting out there the invitation. You're doing in-home presentations. And I will tell you, if you're talking about yourself in particular, just keep doing what you're doing. The right people have not come across your path yet, and they will come. You hear people say it's a numbers game all the time, and it truly is. We show a lot of people, and a strong handful will run with it like we do. You just haven't found the right person that's going to run with it with you yet. But you will. So you're always very positive. You always are growing your list. You're doing everything right. You're adding to your list daily. You see people in the supermarket and you're like, oh my gosh, I saw her and I got her number. I promise you, it will happen. Just don't stop doing what you're doing. Do more of it and just keep it going.
Just stay on that camel, Sandy.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Roger. You both are great inspirations to me all the time.
Thank you. We love
Thank
you.
you much.
All right, now Sandy's in the witness protection program.
Yeah.
No,
So you
I
guys-
get
that's
it.
it.
Dark. Sorry.
That's okay. Don't worry. All right, any other questions out there? Let's see. Hang on.
Thank you for having us on the call.
That was
Made
awesome.
us feel special.
All right, so here's some things here. Let's see. Here's a couple things I just want to highlight. Number one is that you talked about was free energy. All right, so guys, we really got to get back to focusing on that. I think it's one of those things that we're not paying enough attention to, because let me just talk into that real fast, Debbie. Is that what Debbie highlighted on here is that when somebody gets free energy, two things happen. Number one is they have belief in Ambit. They start making money right away. But then the next thing is all of a sudden they say, hey, if I can do this, then other people can do it too, right? And so it becomes a contagious thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Second thing is you're getting free energy, which means you're getting qualified for all of your bonuses. So the faster you do it, the more money you're going to make. And then the last thing is if you hit 20 customers, what does that unlock? The ability to transfer, which is a really big deal. I don't know if because we don't talk about that either, but once you hit 20 customers, at number 21, you can start to transfer into your downline, which is a major tool, and then you will never go inactive over 20 customers. Big stuff. Okay. The next one is that you said is that focus on regionals. Okay. Don't focus on going EC. Focus on building regional consultants under you, and you're going to go EC.
Yes.
That's a nugget that I took away from you guys. And I love, Roger, what you said is stay on the camel, which means you never quit. You never give up. And listen, guys, I'm just going to say it. You can look at the world as one way, as being positive, or you can look at it as being negative. And there's a lot of times in Ambit where people want to focus on negativity. This is the best opportunity of our lifetime. And you know how I know that? Because on the 15th of the month, I got a deposit that paid all my bills. Okay. And so that part is what tells me that this business is the best opportunity of our lifetime. Why? Because I'm in Florida, right? Christina and I are not even, we're 1,000 miles away from the nearest market. I didn't sell any energy at all this month here in Florida. And I made more money this month than I've made in any other month in Ambit on my residual income. Okay. So what that shows me is that what you guys start, we have a great team and everybody's out working hard, but what you start can't ever quit. I mean, it's never going to go away. And so we have it. And so what that means is that you can't focus on negativity. You can't focus on this happened and that happened and this person said this and we don't get travel points anymore. I mean, people want to go down these roads. You can't focus on that. What I've seen with Debbie and Roger is they've made their mind up that this is going to be the business that sets them free financially, that takes care of their great-grandchildren, that allows them to have a comfortable retirement and live where they want to live and do what they want to do, and they're never going to let it go. They're never going to let it go. So in closing, let's leave us with some wisdom, guys. Give us your closing remarks before we all head to bed. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Deb.
Go ahead, Christina.
No, it's you.
Listen, I have said this before. We worry about the future. We talk about it. We're like, what's going to happen? You can put all that aside. Just go out and create the future. Create this business for your family. Don't worry about it. Don't stew over the market and all this stuff. Go out and create the future with Ambit Energy. You will not worry again.
Yes.
Roger.
One thing that I want to say in closing is, and we've talked about it all night long, is just do not give up. Try to stay focused if you can. Don't get discouraged. Follow your goals. And Marc and Christina, Gianni, I love you guys, and I miss you terribly.
Johnny, say goodbye to Roger.
Yes. Johnny,
Come here, quick.
come here, hurry up. Come say goodbye.
He's almost
He's
asleep.
good. He's watching.
Okay.
Watching a movie. He doesn't want to get up. He's too cold.
We'll Zoom privately.
All right, guys.
Love you guys.
Listen,
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys coming on. I'm going to unmute all the lines so everybody can say goodbye to Debbie and Roger. I do want to make one announcement: is there will be no Zoom tomorrow night. So, all right, guys.
None tomorrow.
Hi, Debbie and Roger.
Thanks, Debbie and Roger.
Thanks, Debbie and Roger.
Thanks
Marc
so
and
much.
Christina.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Sure. Thanks, Marc and Christina.
Wait,
Yeah.
come here, Sam.
Thanks, Marc and Christina.
Sam,
Look
here,
at this,
Sam
Sam.
jumped up to say hello.
There he
Hi,
is.
Sam.
Damn.
He wanted to say hi.
There's Sandy.
Yeah, I saw Sandy.
Sandy, got the
Hey,
light on.
bye. Thanks, all of you.
Good night.
All right, love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye, Debbie, Roger.